But yes, I am a former educator turned full-time nomad slash doTERRA wellness advocate slash health coach slash social media brand builder and all the things. And really have just been pivoting a lot in life in the last few years. I came to doTERRA for a health concern that I had about 7 years ago and was just at a breaking point, needed something natural, and it worked. And my life has been forever changed since then. So I love it. So grateful to be part of this community.
Yeah, I am so glad that you're here because I think often people may have some misconceptions about MLMs or network marketing and some fears around that. And I was wondering, did you have any of these concerns in the beginning about MLMs or social selling companies?
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. I don't know if it's because I'm a millennial, so we grew up with like the parties and the lady down the street who would sell you the things. And I don't know, I think it kind of has, honestly, I think network marketing to some degree has earned itself a black eye. Because there have been people out there who have done some not so great things, some shady business practices. And it's hard to really sort through when you're first starting out what's real, what's authentic, and what's not. And I fell in love with the doTERRA company instantly with their heart and their mission and the product. But I remember telling the person who brought me to oils, do not ask me to host a party. Do not ask me if I want to build this as a business. I have no interest. I was very upfront with her. And she was great. She just, said, okay, whatever, do your thing. So I was a customer for about maybe 6, 8 months. And then I had a coworker who was like, okay, what is this? Like, what are these magic little brown bottles that I keep seeing you use? And I was feeling better, and she could, tell the shift in my mood and my body. And she wanted to buy some. So I just went online and figured out how to help her buy some oils. And then I got a check in the mail and thought, oh, wait a minute. What is this? Like, what did I get myself involved in? And then started researching more and connecting with other people, and have really changed the way that I view MLM and network marketing, social selling, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely shifted in the last 7 years from what I thought was kind of like a dirty car salesman backwards sort of a thing to a really, what I believe is a really beautiful business model, especially, and this of course is not excluding men, but especially for women, and more particularly women who want to work in a more location independent type setting. So you have kids, or you RV, or you just have an abundant life and you don't feel like you want to be tied to a particular building. And ultimately too, if you align with the purpose of whatever company you're choosing, it starts to very quickly shift, and you realize that that's where the authenticity comes in. When you have people who align with the mission and believe in the product and the whole experience around it, I very rarely have ever come into contact with a doTERRA person who I would put in that sort of slimy car salesman kind of box, because it's hard not to fall in love with the company and the mission when you really get going. So, but yeah, absolutely, I had those fears for sure.
That's so good. You bring in such a good points with that too, Kelley, of a lot about the team culture and the ethics and the values, and do you align with that? And that's such a key piece. Thank you for touching on that. And would you mind, in a compliant way, sharing a little bit with us about how you got started with doTERRA? You shared like a little snippet. Do you care to elaborate a little bit?
Sure, of course. Yes, I will be as compliant as possible. Yeah, so I was really, really sick for about a year. I was having lots of stomach issues, lots of truly debilitating nausea, which led to a lot of weight loss, which then led to hair loss, hormone imbalance. I mean, I had zero to no libido. My skin was a wreck, like just all the things that happen and kind of come with malnutrition. And at the same time, my mom was losing her fight with cancer, kind of along that same time. So there was a lot of stress. I was teaching full time and working a separate job in order to afford my teaching job. So there was no time for self-care. There was no time to really slow down. And ultimately, it was my body's way of being like, you got to slow down. You got to slow down. And I didn't listen long enough until it started screaming at me. And I didn't have a choice, right? And I think there many people can align with that or resonate with that experience, where you almost kind of have to hit maybe what you call a rock bottom, or really, Laura always talks about like your dark night of the soul period in life, in order to be like, oh wait, something has to change, whether that's with your health or your mindset or with a relationship or whatever that is. And yeah, I definitely hit that point. And I was diagnosed with a stomach condition called gastroparesis, which at the time I thought was like a dinosaur. I had no idea what it was. And it was so foreign to me. And I started doing all this research, and it just felt so heavy and scary. And I worked with my medical team, and I hired myself a health coach, and I was slowly starting to get better and improve. But my life was definitely not back to where it used to be. And it certainly wasn't I wasn't in a place where I was thriving. So I was kind of just like managing throughout the day with lots of different medications and things, and some other holistic stuff. So I started yoga and mindful eating and breathing exercises, meditation, all of which was super foreign to me at the time. So it was baby steps for sure. But I actually was due to get set for a feeding tube. I had tried to avoid it as long as possible, but I couldn't keep anything down. So I made my appointment, and 2 weeks before that appointment, I was sitting in a training, and a fellow teacher came up to me and said, you don't look so hot. Are you feeling okay? And I wasn't. It happened to be a particularly rough day. And she gave me a little sample of essential oil, and it really helped to reduce some of the symptoms that I was struggling with. So much so that I told her, I don't know what's in this. I'm certain it's a placebo. I don't care. I don't care how much it costs. I will buy it by the gallon. Like, how do I get my hands on this? And that was kind of the catalyst, really, is I started with that one little oil, and then realized that I could do so many other things. And there were so many other areas of my life that I could shift, not just digestive health, right? But with my mental health, with my hormone balancing, with my skin. And it really kind of was it's almost like, you just push the snowball down the hill. That was my snowball moment for sure. It started with an oil, and I'm sure it has for many others as well. And yeah, and went from there. So I am currently living with gastroparesis and asymptomatic for the last couple of years. So I feel better than I have ever in my life, and have found balance, and really just my entire life has changed in the last 7 years because of it, for sure.
That's amazing. You have such an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that you pulled everything
Yeah.
in. You changed your life in so
Mhm.
many ways with all of that. And I'm curious, Kelley, how has social selling changed your life? Besides the income, I feel like everybody kind of leads with the income. You see those,
Yeah.
the charts and the numbers thrown at you all over social media, which doTERRA does, as you mentioned, have a really incredible compensation plan and
Yeah.
opportunities for people. But besides the finances and the income, how has that changed your life? What does growth look like?
Ooh, I love this question so much. I think the biggest thing that's shifted is my relationships. And I don't mean just relationships with other people, or people I've met online, although arguably, yes, of course, it's how I met you, right? But I have just deeper friendships. I have more meaningful relationships. But at the end of the day, my relationship to myself is leaps and bounds different than it was 7 years ago. I've learned so much about who I am as a person. I've increased my confidence level tenfold. I feel like I finally have stepped into who I am, and I'm sort of just unapologetically owning it, if that makes sense. And, that wasn't something that I thought I was missing, or that I thought I was struggling with, until I started social selling, until I started teaching people what I know and connecting with like-minded individuals and sharing in this kind of a way. And I thought, oh my gosh, like the way that I feel, the little buzz that I get when I get to introduce this to somebody, or when I get to share about something that worked for me, is unparalleled. I mean, really. And so that's been a big part of it that's shifted with social selling. Yeah, so relationships, I think, are the key one. It's even filtered over into my marriage, honestly, just because there's so much, we say this all the time. doTERRA is an essential oil company, but I actually think it's a self-development company that's just like hidden by essential oils, right? Like the essential oils are the gravy for sure, but like the meat and potatoes of this business, and I would assume most network marketing companies are relatively the same, it's that core belief system, and it's the self-development that you grow through in order to then successfully lead a business, because so much has to happen with your mindset, with your relationship to money, with your ability to show up and push live and go on social media and do all the things. Like these are definitely things that practices I never would have had in place had I not come to the world of social selling, for sure.
I love it. And so true. I'm like 100%.
Yeah.
Everything that you said. And I wanted to ask also, what would you say to somebody if they're on the fence about starting a business with doTERRA and working from home, and they're concerned about juggling a full-time job and this business? Because I know that you do both. What would you speak to them?
Ooh, this is another really good one. So I would start by saying, I feel you. You're not alone. I want to honor the space that you're in because it can feel really scary. All change is scary, even if we know it's good change, right? So that being said, you're seen, right? There are lots of other people out there who are doing something similar, who are juggling full-time job, kids, husband, partners, whatever it might look like for you. At the end of the day, and this is ultimately what kind of made me take the leap, you have very little to lose. So I would look at it this way, if worst case scenario, you dedicate 2 hours every single week to talking to people about essential oils. Don't even have to worry about the other fluffy stuff. Even if maybe you don't even want to do social selling, I don't know, it might not be for you, right? But if you dedicated 2 hours of your week, 2 hours of your month to talking to somebody about how these oils and this product has changed your life, I promise you'll see growth. And it might not even be huge financial growth. For me, and Lauren, I talk about this all the time. Yes, the income is incredible. I'm so grateful for our amazing compensation plan, and the opportunity has changed my family for sure. And if doTERRA were to come and be like, Kelley, just kidding, you can't make money with us anymore, I wouldn't stop what I'm doing. I would continue to teach. I would continue to share. I would continue to show up. And that to me would be enough to help hopefully inspire you to just say yes and just dive in and just go. I mean, the worst thing that you have to lose, and your investment is so minimal when you start a network marketing business like this one. For doTERRA, you're purchasing your initial starter kit, which is maybe like $150, and then your $100 a month investment in your product so that you can qualify for commissions. So say you give yourself 6 months, right? So in a 6-month time frame, you invested $600, and of that is stuff that you already would have bought at Target anyway, right? Like shampoo, conditioner, laundry soap, whatever, fill in the blank. So it's products you're already using in your home. And if it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. I promise you'll have some relationships at the end of it. I promise you'll have changed a lot with the relationship with the person in the mirror. And would that be worth it to you in a 6-month time frame? So I think sometimes we big deal things because we think it has to be forever. And I know I fell into this all the time. It's part of the brainwashing of being a teacher. I thought I would die at a blackboard. Like, honestly, I thought that's how my life would go. Like I would start teaching and I would just stay a teacher forever. But realize that that's A, not how the world works anymore. And B, network marketing gets to be what you want it to be. This can be something that you do in 2 hours a month. It can be something that you do full time. It can be somewhere in the middle. You just have to not give up on yourself. So set yourself a time frame, 3 months, 6 months. I would give it at least 90 days. It's really hard to see growth with anything. I'm not a gardener, but I wouldn't imagine that you see a whole lot of growth in less than 90 days, right? Even with health coaching, this is why I do all my coaching in 90-day chunks, because it's really difficult to see change in less than amount of time. Give yourself at least 90 days, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. There's not going to be any hard feelings here or with whoever you decided to link arms with. But I think you have just nothing to lose. So that's what I would say.
I love it. Such great advice. And I am so thrilled that you were open to coming on and sharing about this, because this is something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about, kind of busting some of those myths that doesn't have to be scary, and you can actually grow a lot as a person and with relationships and communities. And I know I am so grateful that you have come into my life, Kelley, through doTERRA. And that's been one of the biggest blessings and huge gratitudes is the connections and the friendships that you make with all of this. Kelley, will you share a little bit about where people can find you?
Of course, for sure. So you can find me online at The Wholesome Nomad. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, and also all the other places, Twitter, YouTube, my website there. And then I have a new podcast that I just launched at the beginning of 2021, which is The Wholesome Nomad Show. So go and check it out. And feel free to DM me. I'm all the places all the time. That's part of social selling and being connected. So send a DM, send a text, send a carrier pigeon. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. But yes, I would love to chat. And if you have more questions about any of this. I tell people all the time, I try to be an open book, both with the life that you see me share online and the conversations that we have offline. So there's no taboo subjects. There's nothing I'm afraid to talk about. There's no question that I'll tell you I can't answer. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I just want to encourage everybody to go and follow Kelley. She gives great tips on social media about health and wellness. She's the self-care guru. And what Kelley's done for me is give me the permission slip to take that time and do that self-care, and just the reminder that it's okay. And I love Kelley. She shows up real raw and authentic. She will dance in her RV for you and show up like I do, right? Some days it's like, there's no makeup and I just had to work out and this is real life. And I just take so much value from what you share. And her podcast is truly incredible. So go and check out her podcast and subscribe. You're going to learn a lot about taking care of yourself. And as Kelley just said, this is 100% a personal development and growth journey. And she's got some really great resources to help you with that.
You're so sweet. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun to talk about these things. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And everybody go and follow Kelley and learn more about self-care and how to take back your health.
Sounds
Bye.
good. I'll see you there. Bye.